Who are we? We are the Philippine Retailers Association, the pulse and voice of Philippine retail, recognized as a national organization of retailers and suppliers in the country. The PRA membership represents nearly 80% of the retail industry, which counts all major players like SM, Robinsons, Ayala Malls, Rustan's, Araneta Center, Bench, Mercury Drug, Pen Shop, Wilcon Depot, and more. So why join PRA? It is our goal to get your business in the right track, and to make this possible, the PRA offers exclusive privileges that will surely add value to your membership. PRA members in good standing can enjoy exclusive discounts for their music licensing under PhilSCAP, which is required by the law in compliance with the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. As a pulse and voice of retail, we represent your interests on issues confronting the industry, such as bills on the further liberalization of the retail trade, music copyright issue, contractualization, use of thermal POS printers, price tag law, among others. As a member, you can take advantage of special rates and discounts for various educational programs and projects we regularly conduct to help you advance and develop your skills and competencies and help your business grow. There are seminars, conference and expos, high-level and exclusive meetings, which will give you infinite opportunities for the growth and development of your business. As part of our commitment to also help retailers in the regions have access to our educational programs, we conduct regional roadshows all over the country. The PRA also conducts a 2-day career expo, which seeks to generate continuous source of qualified candidates for various levels and positions in the retail business. It is strategically held in malls to help generate increased foot traffic and correspondingly help increase sales for the retailers. PRA members enjoy exclusive privileges through the PRA BizCard, a unique program which offers members exclusive discounts, special offers, and other offerings from associate members and other suppliers. At the same time, it also allows a business-to-business transaction between regular and associate members, which is mutually beneficial for both parties, where trust and loyalty can be established. And since we want to add more value to your membership, we are offering the PRA Premier Members Card, a rewards program to serve and incentivize all members who are actively participating in PRA events and programs. We encourage and recognize Filipino retailers who have epitomized the model of success in terms of growth and good ethical best practices through the Outstanding Filipino Retailers and Shopping Center of the Year Awards, or OFRC. To support members in their employee recognition programs, the PRA spearheaded the Retail Employees Day program for the Philippines, which is celebrated every December 12th. With the support of all members of the PRA, we recognize and celebrate retail employees for their role in the retail business. You have exclusive access to information and publications for industry development available in the PRA library. Through your membership in the PRA, we can help grow your network and access to local international networks through our affiliations with large influential business organizations locally, globally, like the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Employers Confederation of the Philippines, the Federation of Asia-Pacific Retailers Association, the Federation of International Retail Associations, and the National Retail Federation, the world's largest retail organization. Such networks provide unlimited benefits of being connected to the local and global world of business and retail. So, who can be a member? All retailers in all formats, shopping centers, as well as suppliers of products and services to the retail industry are encouraged to join and be a part of the PRA community. How to become a PRA member? We have 3 types of membership to cater to your needs. There's a regular membership for those who are directly involved in the retail business, associate membership for corporations or entities engaged in the business of supplying products or services to retailers, and chapter members who are any organized group of retailers doing business in the Philippines. Being a member of the PRA will give your company endless possibilities and opportunities to give your company what it needs to grow, expand, prosper, and become globally competitive. Because at PRA, our only business is helping your business grow.
nag naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy. Mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide. The future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Paborito ng bawat Pilipino, basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan.
Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local.
alone are worthy of honor, glory, and praise. With you, we can overcome every storm, including the global impact COVID-19 is having on our world. We pray to you, God of mercy, for all who are suffering directly and indirectly during this global pandemic. May you sustain, console, and heal them. We pray to you, God of grace, for all good efforts to rescue life and to maintain people's health. May you strengthen, guide, and protect all, especially those who have committed fight against this disease. We pray to you, God of righteousness, for justice to prevail. Give our leaders a profound wisdom as they navigate through this pandemic and economic uncertainty. Calm our fears. Fill us with your hope, joy, and peace as we continue to trust in you. Come, Lord Jesus. Come to our heart and soul. In Jesus' name, amen.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 6th edition of the Philippine Retailers Association virtual learning series. I'm Rolly Pagaspas and I'm your moderator for today. These are challenging times ahead and moving forward and carrying some positivity. I look forward to a very successful and information-packed webinar learning series for today. Let us first hear a video message from the President of PRA. Please welcome Ms. Rose Maria.
To our dear members, on behalf of the PRA Board and officers, we pray that you, your family, and your staff are keeping safe and well in this time. It has been over a month since the enhanced community quarantine was implemented. And while we all look forward to the lifting of the quarantine in the next few weeks, what we know for sure is that things will never be the same again, both on business and personal levels. As majority of the retail businesses in the country had to close due to the ECQ, and while it was a sudden move we had to take, we all agree that we need to prioritize the safety of our people, our customers, and the community where we operate. As your association, we at the PRA are continuously working to serve you as the pulse and voice of the retail industry, even while we are confined and challenged by this current scenario. For one, in response to the new normal, we are offering our educational sessions, the PRA Virtual Learning Series. This is for free to help members access important ideas and inspirations to help you tide through these worrying times. Apart from this virtual learning platform, we continue to gather official government issuances and useful and relevant information relating to COVID-19, which are accessible in our websites. We had also sent the link to your emails early on before the ECQ to provide you relevant data and information you may need. We have also launched a campaign on our social media accounts and on our website to thank our retail frontliners and service personnel for their relentless service and duty during these trying times. Like our medical personnel, they too are heroes in their own right, ensuring that our essential needs are met, while at the same time also facing the same challenge of potential exposure to infection. Please join us in this campaign by sharing our post in your respective social media accounts. As the pulse and voice of the Philippine retail, we have also taken up the cudgels to bring your concerns and issues to government and concerned private businesses like shopping mall centers to seek possible rental and CUSA reprieve in order to help you ease the burden while our businesses are closed. While we cannot guarantee that our requests and recommendations will be heeded, may our strength in numbers give a stronger voice and impetus to our appeals. Our PRA members Viber group is also an active platform where you can connect with fellow PRA members, exchange ideas, and get support, especially during these trying times. For those of you who have not joined the group yet, we encourage you to do so you can stay updated within the community. Truthfully, the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on our country and our businesses pose a top challenge for your association to remain relevant to the needs and interests of our members. But sincerely as well, we can only do so much. Hence, we will do our best to be useful and relevant to you on areas where our vast network, access to information, and strength as a group will have the most impact. I know many of you, even while you face your own challenges, continue to extend help to our frontliners and to your respective employees and communities. Let's continue to lift up each other and inspire the rest in the best way we can. Furthermore, may the lessons and values we have learned during this challenge bring out the best in us, both business-wise and personally. Know that we, your association, are here for you and one with you in these tough times. We heal as one.
Okay, maraming salamat, Rose. That was a truly inspiring message. And I'd like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank our partners. First of all, our platform partner, Big Media, our technology partner, Big Benta, our media partner, V81 Radio Worldwide, and of course, our program partner, the program closest to my heart, Talk Shop Asia, now global. And these are all the partners who made this webinar possible. And this webinar is co-presented by Essentia, a media intelligence company who helps clients solve the challenge of constantly changing media consumption, along with a new and complex stakeholder environment that requires constant and proactive management, blending people, systems, and services to deliver a smarter end-to-end solution. So with more than 6,000 active searches created by 3,000 companies across APAC, it's easy to see why essential services have become a cornerstone for individuals, teams, and executives to help others understand the complete conversation occurring about their organization, whether that's on the front page of the media, or paper, or on it. And today we have the honor to have here with us the head for the Insight and Research Arm in Southeast Asia, emerging markets, including the Philippines, Indonesia, and Thailand. She is the lead strategist in handling many of the company's premium projects and engagements and brings a wealth of experience that spans almost a decade in the media intelligence industry. Our presenter this afternoon, Ms. Lady Ochel Espinosa, has led essential in understanding and analyzing the issues and trends in integrated media platforms that has led to award-winning media analytics and communication frameworks and methodologies in recent years. For this webinar episode, she will help us understand the key performance indicators to measure a brand's reputation to become a game changer in insights and media intelligence and examine the results of the study on the most reputable brands in the Philippines amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. But before I welcome her on screen, I just would like to remind everybody that we shall have an opportunity for a Q&A after her presentation, and you may send your questions during and right after her talk. With that, I would like to call on Lady Ochel, and Ochel, take it away.
Thank you, Sir Rolly, and a virtual hello to everyone tuned into us this afternoon's virtual learning series. It's rainy here in Metro Manila, so I would usually ask the audiences, how's your afternoon so far? So I hope you're doing great wherever you may be in the Philippines or outside of the Philippines, in Asia or in Southeast Asia. And hopefully this will be a productive session for all of us. So let's begin. Let's start actually with a basic question. What is reputation? Reputation is actually the word that will be the most frequently used term for this entire session. Let's begin with that. What is it for you? What is reputation for you? Let me share this example. 10 years ago, I came across this article in Psychology Today on the value of a good reputation. And I believe this still holds true up to this day. Dr. Alex Lickerman says a reputation is an animal designed by committee. You give birth to it, but the way it develops still depends on the actions of others. He proceeds to say, your reputation lives a very real existence apart from you, representing the collective mental construct everyone but you shares about you. It's a construct based partially on your own actions, but also on the perceptions others have about others' perceptions of your actions. Does this sound familiar? I hope so. He emphasizes further that we only ever have influence over our reputation, never control. So you see, reputation is actually very similar to a superpower. If it is a superpower to us as individuals, all the more it becomes more important for organizations, the brands representing these organizations, and the people behind them, us professionals. To echo Benjamin Franklin, as in all things, reputation is harder to build than to destroy. Building a good reputation requires effort, patience, and time. Destroying a good reputation only requires, a single moment's misstep. It may be cliche, but it still holds true. So at this point of our discussion, we can come to an agreement that, reputation is actually a fragile thing. It requires constant feeding. Consistency is very crucial. So if you live up to your reputation, let's say 99% of the time, but you fail to do so 1% of the time, you risk disproportionate damage if the person you let down or the organization you let down is highly influential in your network. A good reputation shouldn't be an end in itself, but rather a natural outgrowth of our goals. Furthermore, a favorable reputation, a good reputation, which is actually what we're going to discuss today, requires more than just effective communication efforts. It requires an admirable identity that can be molded through consistent performance, usually over many years. So now that we have a rough idea of what reputation is, our next challenge this afternoon is actually to answer, why does reputation matter? Really? Why does it even matter? And why are we even discussing about it? Specifically, why does brand reputation matter? If we as humans are concerned with reputation, executives, industry leaders, retailers, business owners would definitely know in hindsight the importance of their companies and brands' reputations. I'm sure you will agree that firms with strong positive reputations attract better people. They are perceived as providing more value, which often allows them to charge for a premium, if we may say so. Their customers are more loyal and buy broader ranges of products and services. By loyal, to a certain extent, we could even call them advocates. Your reputation is critical since it not only attracts customers, but it also keeps them, from coming back. It keeps them from coming back to you. Or that same reputation will not make them come back to you. Businesses with strong reputations also manage to stay ahead of their competitors. The market value of your company actually depends significantly on this reputation, among many other things. No matter how hard your company tries to market its products and services, most customers will actually look up, Google, as simple as Google it, your reputation, the reputation of your business, the reputation of the people running your business before making a purchase decision. Even Amazon's Jeff Bezos was quoted saying, a brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. So for emphasis, no matter who you are or what your goal is, as an individual, as a retailer, as an institution, as an organization, without good reputation, you'll find it difficult or almost impossible to achieve success. Customers like you and I actually want, the most for our money. So naturally, we will choose the company or the person we think is superior in that particular service or product. You guys agree? No one wants to pay for a product or service that is lower quality than what we initially believed, for example. So whether you're pitching to a new client or looking for a business partner, your reputation affects your bottom line. Although reputation is an intangible concept, we can't take hold of it. It's not like shoes or a bag that we can actually hold on to. Research across the world or globally universally shows that a good reputation demonstrably increases corporate worth and it provides sustained competitive advantage. A business can achieve its objectives, especially its communication objectives, more easily if it has good reputation among its stakeholders, especially key stakeholders, such as its largest and biggest customer base, the opinion leaders of its business community and industry, suppliers even, and current and potential employees. Now that we are in agreement that, reputation matters, we're already in that area and it's of big value. What are the benefits of a good reputation? Why do we even strive to have one? To summarize it and, the benefits of good reputation, just to be very concise about it, I have outlined the same as you can see on your screen. It says here there will be more business opportunities, there will be lower marketing costs, attracts loyal supporters, or I dare say advocates to your brand, more customers and sales. I'm sure, yay, we all want that. It distinguishes us from our competitors. It's a distinguishing factor. It promotes good relationship with clients. It, of course, greater revenues by the end of our fiscal year. Cost-free advertising, because their reputation will be the advertisement in itself. And attract better quality and prospective employees. And of course, higher company value. Likewise, if I may add, government restrictions or regulators actually will trust you more if you have a good reputation, and they will be less inclined to punish you if you trip up along the way. And clearly, potential employees will be more likely to sign up with you if you have a good reputation for the way you treat your staff compared to an employer who may have, let's say, an equivocal reputation. So most companies and organizations, however, do an inadequate job of managing their reputations in general and the risks to their reputations in particular. They tend to focus their energies, on handling the threats to their reputations that have already surfaced. So this is quite dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, in this webinar, because we only address this as crisis management. It's only a reactive approach whose purpose is actually, to limit the damage. We have been outlining the benefits earlier, and all the more, of course, its value, reputation's value. But I'm sure you will agree with me that the value of reputation can be measured all the more, especially when a good reputation of a company or a brand turns bad. And because the impact can be seen in the plunge in, let's say, share price and therefore its market value. Let me give you some examples, great examples even. Wells Fargo, actually, its share price effectively reduced by 20% from 2014 to 2016 when the bank was caught up in a prolonged scandal after admitting to creating several million fake customer accounts. And it even led to employees receiving unearned incentive commissions and more than 5,000 casual employees actually losing their jobs. The share price of Carnival Shipping even dropped by 18% after one of its cruise ships sank in Tuscany in 2012 and with a loss of 33 lives. BP's share of crashed by 53% after the Deepwater Horizon oil production platform caught fire in the Gulf of Mexico, and this was around 2010, causing the largest accidental oil spill in history with the loss of 11 lives. And lastly, Volkswagen. Its group's overall revenue dropped by 5% in the first half of 2016 because the price tumbled down around 40% from May 2015 to October 2016 because it laid off 30,000 employees in the wake of its diesel emission scandal and even continued to hit the group after the scandal started in September 2015. So these are just four of some of the examples that, could shake a company's good reputation. So from the examples we share, I'd like to share with you that we can conclude two main sources of the reputation, and these are experience and information. A past person's dealings with your organization and the extent and nature of their direct and indirect communication with you. So take note of these two main sources of a reputation. To cement this, Charles Fombrum notes that a reputation develops from a company's uniqueness and from identity-shaping practices maintained over time that lead stakeholders to perceive a company as credible, reliable, responsible, and trustworthy. Now that we know the benefits of a good reputation, the next question is, why don't more organizations actually measure it? If you think about it, ask yourselves now, is your organization even measuring reputation? Some may say yes, some may say no. In fact, a U.S. survey by Burson Marsteller found 95% of C-suite chief executives surveyed believe that corporate reputation plays an important or very important role in the achievement of business objectives. Yet, only 19% had a formal system in place in their organizations to measure the value of their corporate reputation. So again, we ask, why don't organizations, big or small, brands, big or small, actually measure it? Possible reasons could actually be reputation is intangible. Again, we can't hold it. It's a complex concept and it takes time to change. The monetary value of its improvements to a growing reputation is also difficult to quantify. Senior managers and senior leaders are actually also obliged to deal with more immediate and demanding operational priorities because reputation for them is a long-term concept. Reputation also ranges over such a broad area of organizations' activities that is difficult to allocate specific responsibility for work and enhancing the corporate reputation to individual function areas. There's actually no reputation department in our organizations per se. And of course, cost or budget. A typical research would actually cost a research and a media intelligence report would actually cost. I'm sure you will agree in these possible reasons. But while monetary costs and budgets are concerns or challenges even, one thing is certain. There is a higher cost to pay for losing a good reputation. Your good standing with stakeholders will be in it will be in a shaky position. Experience also has shown that a badly handled crisis can strip big chunks off a company's share price. Take note, for example, the examples I gave earlier. And therefore, it includes market value. And a smaller organization could be devastated by a loss of reputation. Let's recall this story, or if you're not familiar with this, go ahead later on and go ahead research or even check YouTube later after this webinar. So in 2008, a singer-songwriter, Dave Carroll, arrived in Chicago's O'Hare Airport for a layover. And he discovered that his $3,500 Taylor guitar had been damaged by the baggage handlers of United Airlines. Not long after the said incident, he repeatedly, tried to get a process claimed. But United said no and refused to reimburse him. So for the next 9 months, Carol sent emails, made phone calls, repeatedly pleaded, the airline's customer service representatives, and suggested that at least $1,200 in flight vouchers would be enough to compensate for the damaged guitar. But United said no. Finally, Carol decided to do what he did best. As a singer-songwriter, he wrote a song called United Breaks Guitars. And it went viral. As of last night, I checked it. It's more or less 20 million views already on YouTube. At the 150,000 mark, United decided to offer Carol payment to take the video down. And he even suggested that, just let the airline just donate the money to charity instead. But United Airlines stock price plunged by 10% within 4 days after the song goes online. And, it shook their shareholders and it cost them as much as $180 million just for a $1,200 reimbursement. It cost them $180 million instead. So that doesn't even include, I'm sure the tsunami of bad PR that they actually received for the song that went viral. I'm sure the 4-minute song is not the only reason or even the main reason why the airline had a loss. But that's not the point. The fact of the matter is they could have prevented it had they addressed Carol's earlier requests. So coming from United Breaks Break Guitars, it presents a strong case for managing and measuring reputation. Whether you're running a small business or an enterprise level organization with multiple locations across the globe, it says one thing. Reputation measurement, in fact, could actually save you money. The United Breaks Guitars would probably not have happened if the airline simply agreed to those vouchers that Carol asked in return. But instead, 20 million negative impressions or negative views later on, it still actually produces a big, it approximately, if you Google it, it will more or less give you 8 to 10 million results. So imagine the cost of bad reputation. Further, for a customer experience culture in which everyone takes part in developing and evangelizing your brand, you also would need to implement tools, training, and technology that enable you to stay on top of your online and offline reputation. Have a crisis communication plan and reputation management to protect measures in place for worst case scenarios. So in fact, that already solidifies that to re-emphasize that reputation measurement still really saves us money. No one in his right mind, 10 years in the running, would actually believe that Carol singing the blues could actually have cost United as much money as some media outlets had reported. But there is no doubt that preventive action on reputation, measuring and monitoring it, can save your business from lost sales and, of course, embarrassing brand situations. Another point is that reputation measurement keeps you in business. Even though you may feel like you have no control over what people say or think, I said earlier, you cannot control it. You can only influence it because your reputation is based on people's perceptions. Sound reputation management and brand management practices will give you the ability to influence those perceptions. It can drive increased awareness, engagement, customer loyalty, and we all want that. And it enhances your business's capacity to endure long time. Reputation measurement also fosters trust. Consumer trust is something you cannot buy. I'm sure retailers here, big or small, will agree. It certainly cannot be won by, simply spending money on ads or embarking on a massive blitz campaigns. Advertising cannot help brands easily. Even Starbucks CEO then, Harvard Schultz, said that authenticity is what makes them last. If people believe that, they share values with your company, they will stay loyal to your brand. Authenticity resonates. In Essentia, we keep on repeating this to our clients. Authenticity resonates. That's why it's so important to invest in your brand reputation and make it the kind that, consumers find authentic and therefore trust. Lastly, reputation measurement creates stakeholder value. Your brand is more than just your trade name. Your brand is more than your logo. Your company is more than your tagline or its catchy slogan. It's one of your most valuable and most important business assets and a major factor in determining what your company is really worth. Sadly, a majority of businesses in the Philippines or even abroad are not investing enough in their reputation. At the very least, by measuring and monitoring it, you can help prevent avoidable problems in your organization. More importantly, it provides reassurance, again, reassurance that everyone who actually comes into contact with your brand, customers, let's say prospects, suppliers, even the media, your employees and stakeholders will have a reliably positive, engaging, and valuable experience. So now that we have emphasized, let's all breathe a little, that organizations must measure it moving forward. As, let's say, a newbie in measurement and metrics or identifying KPIs or key performance indicators. The next question is, where do we begin? How do we measure? We are a newbie in measurement. Where do you start? Right? So as a start, you can actually check first online reviews. That's a basic. Online reviews actually represent the voice of the customer. And they're very influential in shaping your brand reputation. Are customers giving you a glowing review? Are they completing your 5-star ratings, your surveys of some sort? Do they give you words of praise? Do they complain? Are they disappointed? Or do they have demands, for example? monitoring your online reviews specifically across multiple websites in social and in digital platforms is a key reputation measurement strategy. Um, be sure to engage with your customers as well. Respond to the reviews, whether it's positive or negative. If you're getting high ratings, good for you. Thank the customer for taking the time to share their feedback, their experience with your brand. And if you're getting negative feedback, acknowledge that the reviewer has a valid point at to a certain extent, and address any high impact issues that he or she may actually have raised. You can also check social media likes and followers or social media engagements if you have currently social media assets, because it's a great platform, for keeping your finger on the pulse of your online reputation. The number of people who like or follow your, let's say, Facebook business page, if you have a YouTube, how many subscribers do you have? That's a good start in terms of your reputation. No one, after all, would like, the Facebook page of a brand with poor online reputation. The same can be said about other platforms such as Twitter or Instagram in terms of their follower count. If people are following you, for example, on these networks, it means that your tweets, your posts, your stories must have a reputation for having something valuable to offer. You guys agree? I can already hear you say yes. Another preliminary metric is repeat website visits. There are a lot of free tools that can actually measure website visits. If you have a company website or a company blog, at least, we highly recommend that you could also integrate with some of analytics tools, even if you haven't done so yet. That's because one of the key reputation measurement metrics is the number of repeat visits your actual website or your company website has. A user may visit your website or blog once in a while and then decides never to come back again, and that's not new to us. But if he or she thinks that you have high quality content, they always say content is king, and if you're able to project a positive reputation and offer a positive experience for those who visit you, then it's natural to actually draw repeat visitors. Now that we have outlined some beginner's way to measure, what should we be measuring? Or take a look at, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. We've already touched some basics. Let's go to the KPIs. Because the effect of COVID-19 is, being felt worldwide. This is also the reason why we have this webinar instead of, a face-to-face interaction. During this time, choosing the right brand messaging and executing it at the right time specifically can give greater resonance to your brand. It can also strengthen relationships. So brand reputation often influences the actions or the choices of the audiences and buyers make. It impacts a brand financially and its ability to grow. It's especially important throughout a crisis, specifically this COVID-19 pandemic, to determine whether your key messages are getting to the right audience at the right time. So, some KPIs for newbies, or even so, the ones that are currently measuring already, share of voice is actually a good start. You can utilize your share of voice as part of your PR, your marketing, and your comms toolkit. It can help you contextualize your media coverage in relation to a particular message or topic, especially during this time. It can also help you understand, let's say, how your brand is participating in the conversations. You use COVID-19 as an example and look at the share of voice. If you can help identify, for example, volume of mentions for COVID-19 over another time on time comparisons, volume of mentions of COVID-19 over, let's say, another as it relates to sentiment or tone or favorability. We measure your brand's visibility by the sentiment about your brand in relation to COVID-19. You can also look at the volume of mentions by media type or by channel type. So a quick share of voice is a good start already. Mentions. When I say mentions, it could be buzz if you're referring to digital discussions. It could be media pickups if you're keen on mainstream media, for example, or even just survey, for example. As long as you have the data to back it up. Throughout a crisis, tracking mentions, media mentions, buzz can help you spotlight spikes in coverage due to expected or unexpected events. So some metrics you can use to examine brand mentions, let's say brand mentions by media type or by channel type, am I more discussed on Twitter or am I more discussed on Instagram? That could be one angle. Brand mentions over time, again, see spikes or buzz trends. That it could be particularly be very useful when comparing mentions pre-event, pre-COVID, post-COVID, and the like. So those kinds of measurement would do your brand really well. Sentiment related to those brands, again, to understand how your brand is perceived by your audience, and even to a wider extent, are they looking at you negatively, positively, and several other layers in the long run. Brand mentions by spokespeople, by influencers. Are you tracking specific people who say something good or bad about your brand? That could actually be one thing to look at, or a specific angle to trace. Day-to-day volume of mentions per entity, or you can even track your own competitors. But at least measuring mentions is a good start. Sentiment analysis is a little deeper, more than just the quantifiers that I mentioned earlier, because it's sentiment analysis is already one of the key metrics of PR, of marketing and communications professionals. It helps all of us actually understand our brand's reputations. Are we positive? Are we very positive? Are we listening to our neutrals, and the like? It also enables us to analyze negative sentiment and uncover new ways to improve brand reputation. And I Cynthia, we always tell our clients, look at the negatives from time to time. Give attention to the negatives. These are not negatives. These are opportunities. Leverage on these opportunities to make good marketing, PR, or even brand business decisions. Key outlets. When I say key outlets, it's your media channels, your media types. Are you more on broadcast? Are you more on present on TV? Or is it really Twitter that's creating the buzz for you? Monitor your target outlets. Prioritize which outlets you want to consider, or it really depends upon the industry, so that you're able to understand whether your messages, the key messages, as simple as your logo or as simple as your slogan, is actually landing in the right hands. The right hands who have the ability to purchase, those who have the ability to buy or engage with your services. Because if not, it's likely not to resonate with your audience. Then maybe the strategy could be tweaked a little bit. Not surprisingly, most campaigns rely heavily on the successful execution of two key elements: consistency of the message, the share of voice across target channels. Media outlets analysis can actually give you an important measure of coverage published by volume. It goes without saying that media intelligence is the key. It allows you to be more proactive in a rapidly changing environment now, specifically during this COVID-19 pandemic. It's crucial to stay across the latest, most relevant news and information. With COVID-19, we are seeing record levels of content across a single issue, and it's constantly even evolving. So your brand's reputation is one of its most valuable resources. When you use metrics, when you use media metrics, it can provide valuable insights about your brand and help you achieve the best possible outcome for your brand reputation. So we ask ourselves, what if there's actually a better way to measure reputation? Now, these metrics that I've been discussing with you might be very helpful if you do it in-house or you do it on your own, but these are standalone numbers. They could be present during COVID-19. They could just be top-line stats on your brand reputation. But what if there is a better way to really measure it? If an organization's reputation is at its core really how people feel about them, and these feelings can actually be based on the interaction and the knowledge of the brand. So this reputation is important as it often dictates the actions or choices of the audiences and buyers make, impacting an organization financially and its ability to grow. So take note of these two. If managed and measured, the two M's, the value of an organization's reputation can be safeguarded and used as a source of growth by strategically influencing key consumers' consideration over the competition and the market more broadly. So people can actually interact directly with an organization more than ever before on social media, targeted advertisements, in-store experiences. You even have customer support, to name a few. That's why keep that question coming into your heads, ladies and gentlemen. Could there be a better way to really measurement? Given how wide-reaching reputation is, how would your organization make improvements? Given that, reputation encompasses everything an organization does. What would be an efficient way to channel your resources, for example? Social media is actually a good start. It's a great place to listen to the voice of consumers and key audiences who choose to voice their experiences online. It provides insights onto what your organization has done well or needs to do better. Especially when the social media data is used in conjunction with additional data, like let's say survey analysis, it can also reveal what channels and content are contributing to what people think. Sometimes people don't necessarily have to say it out online. It's on top of their mind. So imagine the beauty of measuring your digital conversation to organic digital conversations and survey data. Drawing from online resources and social media. I would like to share with you. I sent way to establish. I sent just actually established 3 drivers to identify and quantify an organization's reputation. The first driver that we have identified is strategy. I'm sure your organizations have strategies in place. Strategy is all about the future direction of an organization. It asks questions such as, does your organization have a strong leader? The face of your organization, is he or she a strong leader? Does your organization seek to innovate? Innovation is also a very used word lately in our discussions in different webinars. So keep that term also in mind. Another question is, does it shape the way society thinks about your brand or your organization? Is your organization authentic in its messaging? We've said earlier that authenticity resonates with our audiences. And of course, the question is your organization likely to succeed? When an organization shows these qualities, it raises consumer trust and confidence. But what it's important is that this is authentic. So take note of our first driver, strategy. Second driver is culture. Culture is determined by an organization having strong values and integrity. Questions such as, is the organization socially responsible? Do you even have your CSRs? Are practices fair and transparent? Do you promote a balanced workplace, work-life balance? Is it an environment where people aspire to work every day? Do they have ethical relationships with their business partners? In one of the cases that we've handled previously, a reputation report that we've handled, this is something I'd like to share. It actually has good scores in strategy and the next pillar that I will share. But the reason why there was a push and pull of the scores is because it fared very poorly in culture. Why? Its own employees are dissatisfied with how they're being treated. So imagine how culture can actually affect good reputation in general. The third driver is delivery. We've already gone through strategy, your company culture. Now, how do you deliver your products and services? How do people perceive the organization's products or services of good quality? Are the products well received? Is the organization well known in the industry? Are you the industry top of mind when we speak of, let's say, retail in general? Do customers have a good experience? Are they successful? So that's delivery. It's how organization is at delivering on its day-to-day business. So now that you've seen, we've discussed these three pillars, there are several deep dive ways to measure reputation. And we will go back to the three pillars that I've discussed earlier later on. Market research agencies even have a way of measuring reputation. Different agencies, whether market research, other research agencies, they use reputation analysis for their as a service. But since it's Icentia's way to measure reputation, let's ask how do we measure reputation and how can we help you? So reputation analysis of Icentia, this is groundbreaking as we launched this last year across Asia Pacific, and this is how we define reputation in our organization. Reputation is a company's overall character judged by its target audience. So perhaps by now, you'll see the progression of our webinar. We've tackled audiences, we've tackled, perception, and we've reached at this stage. When we speak of Icentia's reputation analysis, this is our definition. But we still ask, as media intelligence experts, why reputation? Of the many services that we have, specifically with insights, why reputation? Why should we recommend that to our clients? Your reputation is your financial performance. Firms with better corporate reputations are better able to sustain superior financial performance outcomes over time. It even Harvard Business Review even mentioned that a bad reputation costs a company at least 10% more per hire. So take that in mind. Your reputation is your financial performance. In the many examples I shared earlier, you've noticed that all of them experiencing bad reputation are also experiencing plummeted stock prices. So here, we also acknowledge that your reputation is your stock price. It's also your employee engagement. Many executives actually talk about corporate reputation and brand reputation as if they're one and the same. They're not. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge that they're not. And confusing the two can actually lead to costly mistakes. But both are equally important. Reputation is company-centric. Corporate reputation is company-centric. It focuses on broader sets, let's say the employees, the investors, and your customers. It's about legitimacy and credibility. Brand reputation is a company's promise to its customers. Brand reputation is about relevancy and differentiation. So how do we do it? Are you guys ready? We've been progressively measuring several steps and KPIs. But let me introduce to you a better way of measuring reputation. So this is our framework. We use an integrated framework that blends social media conversations and survey data. In fact, we can even throw in media data. So you have social media conversations, you have survey data, and if you want to know how the media perceives or tells a story about you, you can even include it in the same. This framework is actually based on decades of scientific research into the most important drivers of organizational reputation. And I've represented that earlier by saying these are strategy, culture, and finally delivery. This kind of analysis is very targeted and very strategic. And we can also quantify your reputation. Remember the question earlier, we said, how do you quantify reputation if it's not tangible? So we have a rep ID score, and it also details your scores across the three drivers and different kinds of opportunities and weak spots, as well as recommendations on how you might, let's say, influence the behaviors and opinions of those valuable, but often intangible, neutral audiences in your favor. Is this all wrapping up now? I hope so. So this is where we are in Icentia. This is strategy, culture, and delivery. In strategy, again, we have 5 attributes. Do you have good leadership? Remember the questions I mentioned earlier? It all summarizes it here. Will you be successful in the next 5 years? Are you an innovative company? Are you the leader in your industry? Do people believe what you say? That's all in the strategy pillar. And culture pillar, are you honest and about your businesses? Are there no hanky-pankies going on? Do you contribute to the community? Are you a good and diverse employer? Do you behave ethically? Do you offer a proud place to work? And lastly, delivery. Are you good at what you do? Are you the one that people think of in terms of the services that in your industry? Are you top of mind in your sector, at least in your sector? Are you financially successful? Are you even paying your taxes? Do people enjoy hearing from you? You know, specifically in the webinars when they say it's about company A. Well, let's attend. Think about it. Or do they even care about quality? So that's our reputation framework. Rep ID specifically gives you current organic conversations and even midterm thinking and perception. So here, we look at what your targets are talking about and what your targets are thinking about you. So that's how we measure reputation. So again, to summarize what I've been babbling about so far, you have these 3 pillars. You have these 15 questions as a checklist in terms of your reputation. But what data are you going to use? Again, I mentioned earlier, you can even use social media data, survey data, mainstream media, and you can marry the 3 or just combine 2 out of the 3, depending again on your priorities, of course. So Rep ID ultimately links with key metrics that matter to you, from your PR or comms KPIs to, let's say, find metrics that matter to your C-suite level. It's very, very direct and easily understandable. Just to give you a glimpse of how we do it in Isentia and how a sample analysis would look like if, let's say, you're interested in measuring it in this framework, it would look like this. You'll have scores in the strategy pillar. You'll have scores in like culture. You'll even have scores in delivery. And you have an overall rep ID. So imagine month on month, year on year, you'll be able to confirm, 1, how are you performing overall? And second, what particular pillar are you not faring well? What's causing the push and pull of your scores? Very targeted, very strategic. The next question would be, is your reputation a surplus or a deficit? So measuring your reputation also helps you understand potential effects of crisis in the future. If you see periodically that your overall rep ID, for example, is going borderline 0.5 or negative 0.5, you should be alarmed. And go back again. Are you performing well on strategy? Are you performing well on culture? Are you performing well in delivery? Let me give you an example. One of the sample works that we've done, a study using this particular framework, they were faring well in strategy. They were even faring well in culture. Their employees love them. But there's this one incident that the ceiling of their establishment actually collapsed. And so people were, saying that you have bad service, the delivery of your service sucks and the like. So they scored almost on opposite ends in terms of their strategy, culture, and the delivery score. It really pulled down their scores at that particular moment. But the good thing is, we'll be able to tell them now, hey, you're doing well in strategy. You're doing well in company culture, but you have to beef up your delivery performance. Sounds fair or digestible at the moment? I hope so. So if we break this down in terms of results, what people say about you, what people think about you are 2 different things. Especially if we put the third player here, what the media tells about you is also a different construct altogether. But you may have all those scores, but as I've said earlier, listen to your neutrals. In Isentia, we believe in the gold in the gray so that our actions are targeted. These gray areas, these neutrals, don't neglect them. If you're currently using, let's say, sentiment analysis, don't neglect your neutrals. Your neutrals are your opportunities. They're also something that you need to take care of because the neutrals could either pull your scores up or push you down the drain or the bottom of the sea level. So again, take care of your neutrals. The totality of reputation says still not just the positives and negatives, but there is gold. There's a gold mine in the grain. So performance of the three drivers, the result is even broken down to identify the push and pull of the scores. So if your strategy performed well, what question or 15 attributes, as I shared earlier, are you performing bad or performing good? Let's say, for example, as you see on your screen, strategy here is negative 1.0. But you can look strategically who is pulling down the scores. Strong leader is one. What people say is at negative 7.1, but what people think is at a positive 1.5. This means that top of mind, the leader of your leader is performing well. But online, people are complaining about your leader. So at least you'll be strategically and targeted action and business decisions will focus on those specific attributes. Make sense right now? I can actually hear you say yes. So when you use this report, we go through one by one these message pillars. We take closer looks at what they are, what results there are in a given period. Because as the old saying goes, reputation is what they say about you when you leave the room. So your reputation analysis also includes a look into these look closer into these message pillars. A look into these particular respondents, for example, will make you very wise business decisions. So same goes for culture, and the same goes for delivery. You'll be able to target and get actionable insights from these message pillars. All right. Also, we've been using the word targeted audiences earlier. We can even use your audience insights. Where are those scores coming from? Who are the big contributors? Are these the males, the females? What age? Specifically from what location? The wealth of data and insights that would come from audiences, from your targeted audiences, will really be able to make wise decisions. And not only that, to be able to hit your goals and communication objectives over time. You can even spread that out and break that down further by per indicator, per demographics, and it can help organizations and brands not only target messages and attributes, but also help them know their audiences better. This one example is actually for culture. This one is for delivery. This is indicator by demographics. I'm just showing this to you. And then neutral responses, of course, in proportion to by driver and by demographics. So you see the wealth of data that you'll be able to find out. It's for a data geek like me, it's very, very exciting. Also for the sources of information, again, there's a gold in the gray. We highlight these potential spots so you'll be able to leverage on them. And we present different ways of information. Lastly, we summarize this with key insights to, of course, to get your attention. C-suite levels don't necessarily have to walk through all the reports. It just can be concise summary of the results in mind. BU here is a dummy organization, so this is just a sample. So again, going back to that reputation methodology, this is from Icentia's perspective. This is how we measure reputation. But earlier, I've already showed you some basics, what to look at, and what channels to check from time to time if you're a newbie in measurement, and what will be the KPIs if you're also a newbie in measurements. So we've actually come full circle, guys. What is reputation? Why does reputation matter? What are the benefits of good reputation? Why don't more organizations, for example, measure it? Where do we begin? What metrics should we measure? How does Icentia specifically measure reputation? And before I wrap this all up, I'd like to show you the most reputable brands in the Philippines and Southeast Asia. So we crafted this study during the even before the lockdown. This is the covered period for this is a 6-week period from January 1, 2020 to February 15, 2020. And shout out to the insights team of the Philippines and Southeast Asia for crafting all these reports to be shared to our clients, and not just our clients, but our potential clients. So in the Philippines, I'll let you walk through it. So we identified here top brands fighting the COVID-19 crisis and in turn earning a positive reputation. But mind you, the data here is limited only to social media. So we still use the same Icentia reputation framework. And this is our methodology from data acquisition to text processing and cleanup. And we even did machine learning aided tools and reputation scoring. So here are the most reputable brands in the Philippines for the 6-week coverage of January 1, 2020 to February 15, 2020. And this was even before we had our quarantine period here in the Philippines and even across Southeast Asia. So you'll see here Philippine Red Cross, Watson's, Adventist Medical Center, De La Salle University, DFA, and Cebu Pacific. And we'll acknowledge some honorable mentions later on. So the reason why this is Philippine Red Cross, their biggest, the best performing message pillar is on strategy. So if you'll see here that their efforts to extend assistance to Wuhan, China, as well as determination to keep the public informed, it really merited a good standing for the Philippine Red Cross during this particular time. And this was even before our March quarantine period. So strategy is Philippine Red Cross's strongest message pillar in terms of reputation. Watson's made the second in rank, and same strategy is their strongest message pillar. It was able to reach out, to its audience as well on how to prevent the spread of the virus, as well as keeping the authorities informed of its supply and pricing surgical masks, among others. Adventist Medical Center was a surprise also for us. It even bested the big names in the hospital industry. But look at the honorable mentions here. We have East Avenue Medical Center, Pasig City General Hospital, Makati Medical Center, The Medical City, and Asian Hospital Medical Center. It's just that during this period, the Adventist Medical Center fared better, and delivery is actually their strongest suit. De La Salle University made fourth in rank, and its best suit is also in strategy. It was among the country's top academic institution. La Salle did really well in their efforts to help stop the spread of COVID-19. It ensured safety measures such as temperature checks and travel restrictions to its faculty and staff, and that really fared well with the digital publics. Among all our government institutions, DFA ranked fifth, but it fared the best among all the agencies. But honorable mentions, of course, to the Department of Transportation, Department of Health, DILG, and Department of Tourism. They all fared well in terms of performance, and netizens believe that they're one of the most reputable brands or organizations, at least government organizations in the Philippines. Cebu Pacific also made it in the list, specifically because despite the cancellations of flights, especially the Manila-Taipei flights during this time, and following the inclusion of Taiwan in the travel ban amid the 2019 novel coronavirus infection, Cebu Pacific Air secured a spot among the reputable brands with delivery as its strongest message pillar. Kudos as well to AirAsia for making it in the honorable list. So give me a few more minutes, guys. So who made it in other markets? If your organizations or your brands didn't make it in the Philippines, and if you're from an international organization, let's see if you made it in our counterparts in Southeast Asia. So for Singapore, this study was done before the coronavirus pandemic. So the most reputable brands in Singapore results was the first reputation rankings that we published. So this did not necessarily mean during the COVID-19 pandemic, but these are the top 10 brands that made it in the list. Disney, UOB, and Singapore Airlines made it in the top 3. For the COVID-19 pandemic period, along with the Philippines, our Malaysia office also produced the same report, and their top 3 included AirAsia, Rapid KL, and Prudential, among others. For Vietnam, you had BIDV, Vietcombank, and Samsung as the top 3 most reputable brands during the COVID-19 pandemic, or over at least this certain period in time. In Indonesia, number 1 is Huawei Indonesia. Number 2 is Batik Air, and then Garuda Indonesia made it in their list. And lastly, for Thailand, it's their Ministry of Public Health, Thai AirAsia, and AIS, which is a telco company, made it in the top 3 brands here. We even here see Lazada, for example, and even Huawei still marking their good reputation marks in Thailand during the same period. So before we finally wrap up, my question now is, are you thinking about reputation? And I hope so that you do. If you're not thinking, at least you're keen on measuring it, at least. The wise words of the head of Insights in Asia, Prashant Sasena, actually summarizes it all. Financial success doesn't guarantee a positive reputation for brands. Brands that are doing well at present may fail in the future if they are not admired by their employees, stakeholders, customers, and the society in general. Measuring your reputation, understanding where you sit in the continuum of reputation deficit or surplus is the first step towards long-term path of success. So again, I'm sharing here with you a quick checklist. These are the 15 questions we've been summarizing since early on. And I hope you consider and ask your brands or your leaders, in fact, if you are actually saying yes to these questions. Where do we go from here as this webinar ends? Let's agree, ladies and gentlemen, reputation isn't just an intangible concept. It's strategic. It's a strategic imperative. And today's empowered and connected consumers have unequaled access to, information. So make the most out of your reputation. So you can take a faster action and make wise business decisions. A brand's reputation taking a dive, even when played out in the public arena, isn't always highly visible. And therein lies the imperative for data-driven insights into brand reputation management. So altogether, as business professionals, communication professionals, let's monitor, let's measure, let's turn that apathy against reputation into advocacy. And finally, let's start to open possibilities. I am Lady Ochel Espinosa. Thank you for staying with me in this last hour. I am the Regional Insights Manager for Emerging Markets in Southeast Asia. I'm proud to be a part of Isentia. Our mission is to monitor, analyze, and create actionable insights for complex communications across Asia Pacific. We are present in 12 markets and 19 offices. We have more than 1,200 people. We are one team and we have one focus. We are the market leading data intelligence company, from our data to our insights. So from Manila to Singapore to Sydney, we've definitely got you covered. We're backed by robust methodologies in our insights reports that we send out to our clients. We've won AMEC Company of the Year several in a row. We're leading the global development of the media measurement industry. AMEC, which is the Oscars of the measurement and communication world, we've won 4 gold awards as of 2019. We have sophisticated media intelligence. We have unrivaled insights. But most of all, we have the best people. Thank you very much, PRA, and to the team for giving me this hour to talk about reputation, measurement, and things that I'm actually very passionate about. I'm now ready, Sir Rolly and the team, to answer some questions.
Okay, so maraming salamat, Ochel, and that
Thank you,
was
sir.
a very insightful and power-packed, information-laden presentation that we are learning a lot right now. And
Thank you, sir.
as my response, why reputation? Because I believe in my name, I believe in my image, and I
Exactly.
believe in the process, and the summation of this is definitely very significant and important.
Exactly, sir.
Why? I will embrace reputation management.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And then
Sir.
for everybody who's watching, especially the retail stakeholders, I'm sure that
Yeah.
they will have identified themselves where they are now in the process that you have mentioned, and everything
Yep.
they will now respond positively in embracing
Yep.
reputation management.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'd like now to open our digital studio to our Q&A. Can we have the questions now? Okay, we have the first question with Trish Martinez Castillo. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are great tools for dipstick consumer inciting. What are your thoughts on using LinkedIn for corporate reputation?
It really depends on your objectives. So that's the first thing. What is your communication objective? Everybody may be buzzing about Twitter. Instagram is cool. There are millions of subscribers for Facebook. But it all boils down to, what is your objective? What is your objective as an organization? If LinkedIn's audiences the corporate audience of LinkedIn and its very corporate nature is your objective, then go ahead, measure your reputation on LinkedIn. But it also depends on your industry. So there are several other factors that would get into play when you say, do we just really want to go to measure LinkedIn? So yes, ma'am, my answer is go ahead, measure LinkedIn as a media space if that will answer your communication objectives, if that will give you valuable insights and valuable data to answer and reach your goals. But if it's only because it's popular, maybe we need to rethink our strategies, because Twitter may have the most buzz, but if it's all noise and if it's cluttered information and you're not really getting actionable insights, then maybe that's not the priority space for you. So going back to the question, go ahead. If it's to be concise, go ahead, tap LinkedIn if it is going to give data and actionable insights to give you wise and better business decisions.
Yeah. Yes. Next question from Mickey Gonzaga. How is the brand reputation key metrics can be translated to incremental, tangible results?
Yeah, so I've measured this earlier. It's what usually our clients do is they have this reputation ID. So we've already learned to quantify reputation. You match this with your internal KPIs. Are you saying reputation vis-a-vis your sales? Is there a correlation? Let's say foot traffic, if that's your objective of vis-a-vis reputation. Is there a relationship or is there a correlation? So in terms of tangible or monetary results, there may not be direct correlations, but you'll see it over time. If your reputation score is, let's say, increasing and your sales are declining, then there must be a disconnect in your messages. There must be a disconnect in your target audience, because it may resonate well in, let's say, a report, but in terms of monetary value, it's declining. So all these are coming into play. We need to consider first, what is your objective? What is the relationship that you're trying to look for? And in any event, if that's the way you would want to measure, in terms of monetary value, then you may want to rethink your strategy to be able to increase your brand reputation instead of, and bridge the gap. In any event, there is no correlation in sales, for example, and your scores. So it all boils down to objective, laying out the framework, and making sure that you are comparing apples to apples. Otherwise, there's going to be analysis paralysis if they're actually not connected together.
Okay. Third question from Carrie Ko. How can one rebuild a once good reputation that has been worse? What are the possible quick damage control steps?
So in terms of reputation, it's also its cousin, as I mentioned earlier, two cousins: risk management and crisis management. What we're discussing here is reputation in general, and it already tells you, you might want to measure this first before a crisis even ever happens. So at a certain degree, reputation measurement is actually risk management. You're measuring the risks or potential risks that your business is going to encounter later on. It's very much different than crisis management, because if you're already in crisis, definitely your reputation scores will be very low. So it all goes back to how you will address the crisis management now. Or do you want to see better content? Do you want to improve your CSR, for example? Do you want to even have a promo for those affected with the bad reputation? So in order to rebuild your reputation, you must first know where to start. Is it my strategy that's actually low? Is it my culture, company culture? Or is it my delivery? Because otherwise, if you just address it in a blanket way of addressing things, business decisions will go into place. That's why the way we measure it is very strategic. The example I shared earlier, you may be doing well actually in delivery. You may be doing actually well in company culture, but it may be your strategy that's pulling you down. And that's what you're saying. And that aspect alone is actually where your bad reputation comes from. So target that specific measure and leverage on your strengths in order to rebuild an overall good reputation.
Okay, I'd like to say hi to Carrie Core because she's a coach by herself. And syempre, shoutout muna tata sa mga PRA Secretariat who made this webinar team possible and now successful. Shoutout to my good friend Evelyn Balmea Salire, BM Miranda, of course, Ivan Bersenola, and then Ira Villanueva, and then Mayan, and Grace Recosado. And of course, Kate Kat, who did our script. Kaya magandang hapon because they're now closely watching our webinar. And then next question, please. From B. Gomez, how do you measure reputation in a business platform like LinkedIn?
It still depends. It still depends because when you say how do you measure, we're already looking at methodologies. So, for example, for LinkedIn, do you want to look at the people? Are you targeting your audiences? Are we looking at audiences or stakeholders that are reacting to your posts? Are we looking at the ones that actively comment to your LinkedIn posts? So those two things. How many people are actually friends or following you on LinkedIn? That's another way to look at it, because the ones that actually follow you or are your fans, whether it's on LinkedIn or in Facebook or Twitter, may not necessarily be the same fans or followers that are actually actively engaging with you. So that's two-pronged. You can either measure quantitatively the followers, the subscribers, or two, you measure how many are actually actively engaging with you. There may be 10,000 comments in your LinkedIn post, but the 10 out of the 10,000, it only comes from, let's say, 1,000 people with multiple posts or multiple reactions, and they all come from your organization. So you may be, just fooling yourself. I have a good reputation score, but if you go back to the basics, it's actually just coming in internally. So again, you can look at several ways to measure it. You can start with number of followers. You can start with number of active audiences that are engaging with you. Or at the very least, you can look at your content. Which content is actually getting more attention versus the rest.
Okay, next question we have from Gwen Jessica Galvez. When is the right time in the company's history to measure one's reputation? Follow through, what are the red flags in detecting a negative reputation?
Yeah, the time is now. Now, sir. Yeah, the time is now. You don't have to wait for the COVID-19 pandemic. Don't wait for let's say a crisis that's going to happen. Again, the cousins of reputation measurement are risk management and crisis management. You'd rather have risk management to prevent the crisis than address the crisis altogether. That's a PR nightmare happening altogether. So if you're asking me when do you start measuring reputation, the time is now. If you just ask me when it's time to measure anything at all other than reputation, the time is now. As long as you have data, you'll be able to have data-driven decisions, will be very strategic and be very targeted to your objectives in the long run.
Okay, we can have one more. Nicole Soon. What are some best practices of one's company's needs to strengthen the culture driver besides compensation and benefits and employee engagement?
CSR is actually one untapped aspect or sector. When you say CSR, we do this outside of our companies, but in fact, you can even do CSR and involve your employees. One of the reports we've done, one reputation analysis report we've done, the reason why their culture score is so high is because in their CSR efforts, they're involving their own employees. So that in effect pushed their CSR efforts, but because their own companies are spreading the good word about their company's good reputation in terms of corporate social responsibility. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just employee benefits when we talk about culture as an aspect of reputation. You can involve them in your own efforts, in your own executions. Make them part of it. Engage them more than just having your employees as also your audiences in your efforts. So CSR is actually a good way to go because that's one of the actual results that we've had in one reputation study that we've crafted.
And for our last question. Okay, so I think all the other questions will already be contained and be responded to. And we'll just give these questions to you, Ochel, and I can
Sure.
answer them on a personal note.
Definitely.
Okay, but of course, we would like to tell everybody that a copy of the presentation will be sent to you, but we would like to ask for your good time so that you can answer our feedback link. And then once you answer it, then you will now be redirected to the presentation site. Maraming salamat. Okay, so Ochel, I think that was a very wonderful presentation and the Q&A. And because I think we just have to highlight to our audience that for everything that we do, always take note that the background is necessary because that will dictate where you are coming from. And of course, for all those assumptions are not given in this presentation because you've got to assume the things that you are in and also may not know it, di ba? So for all tactical plans, etc., there has to be some assumption with your company and personal and your brand. Okay, so I think, Ochel, we look forward to more webinars with you, but I'd like to take this opportunity to give your parting words, your takeaway to our general online public.
All right. So to close this virtual learning series, it has been a pleasure for Isentia across all our markets in the Asia Pacific to partner with the Philippine Retailers Association as we all help, the retailers, big or small companies, organizations in both the private and the public sector, brands, communities, and even individuals who make smart business decisions, especially as we adapt and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. And even after the quarantine restrictions are relaxed, measuring reputation actually takes all of this a step further. It's a step further. It gives businesses a framework to spot opportunities, to influence or change certain people's behaviors and beliefs around your brand. So today, PRA and Isentia hopefully helped all of you understand that there are unique opportunities to capitalize as we all move forward. In behalf of my Isentia family, from especially the Insights team across Southeast Asia, it's been a pleasure being with all of you today, and thank you very much.
All right, maraming salamat, Ochel, and syempre thank you to your company, Essentia. At syempre, sabi nga nila, for the final words of that reputation, it is intangible, but it gives, it can be influencing our mind. And it cannot be controlled, yet it creates the bridges that can create success for our business. At syempre, I would like you to please take note that the next PRA webinar is on May 19. Please watch it, no? And then if you're not enrolled, please get into the link and then be counted. And of course, I'd like to thank again our sponsors for today, for our platform partner. And I would like to thank Big Media, for our technology partner, Big Penta, and for our media partner, Tijuana. And of course, for our program partner, the program closest to my heart, Talks of Asia, the Philippine Retailing Industries Program and Communities on Business Exchanges. It will now turn global. All right, and siyempre, final shout out, siyempre, binabati ko, Madam Evelyn Balmea Salire, Rosemary Ong, BM Miranda, Kat Nanta, Ivan Rosanilla, and then Grace Reclusado, Mayan, and kami nakakalimutan ako to all the other PRA staff who made this webinar happen and now successful. For my final verbatim, I'd like to tell everybody that our retail life has been put to a challenge yesterday. And for today, let us have our business life on the next level. And Talkshop Asia, together with the Philippine Retailers Association, is with you in this challenge. We are with you because I'd like to give the challenge that you have to be digital. And with that, you've got to embrace it because you've got to transform, because if not, na you'll be left behind. Okay, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide, the future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Paborito ng bawat Pilipino, basta all hits, all Pinoy panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan.